I'm Leo, 31, an IT project manager who thought he had everything figured out. A steady job, a quiet condo under my name, and a girlfriend, Tessa, 28, who I believed was my future. We'd been together 3 years, living together for 1, sharing bills and a life I thought was solid. But lately, things had changed. She'd become distant, constantly glued to her phone, laughing at messages and tilting the screen away when I walked by. Whenever I asked, I got vague excuses. Just my sister, or work stuff, don't be needy, Leo. Still, one name kept showing up, Declan Fire, supposedly a friend from her pottery class. Right. So one night after dinner, I asked her directly, "What's going on with us? And who's Declan?" I expected a fight or a lie. Instead, she sighed and gave me a look like I was a child interrupting her fun. "Leo, you're great, you're stable, you're sweet," she said. "But I'm 28. This is my prime. Am I really supposed to just settle? Be tied down?" I felt my chest tighten, but she kept going. "Declan's just an option. He's exciting. He makes me feel alive. Don't get all wounded. This is how dating works now. It's a marketplace. I need you to prove you're better than my other options." I stared at her, realizing she was serious, and something inside me flipped. The warmth shut off completely. I smiled calmly and said, "You're right. That's fair. You should see what's out there." Her smug expression returned. She thought she'd won. "Wow, Leo, you're being so mature. This is why I love you." She packed a bag, kissed my cheek, and said, "Don't wait up." 10 minutes after she left, I opened her iPad, found Declan's number, and sent him a message. "Hey, this is Leo, Tessa's stable option. She said she's exploring her choices, so I'm packing her stuff into a 10 by 10 storage unit. First month's $180. Since you're option B, want to split it?" 3 minutes later, he replied, "Is this a joke?" I said, "Nope, she told me to compete with you. I'm declining. You in for $90? He paused, then sent, "Wow, yeah, sure, $90, Venmo." I laughed out loud when the payment hit. That night, I packed 12 boxes, carefully wrapped her tacky, pink neon The Good Life sign, and by morning had the storage unit booked and a locksmith scheduled. She wanted to test the market. I just made sure she had room to store her inventory.
2 days later, right on cue, I heard the unmistakable sound of a key scraping against my front door. Scrape, scrape, then a frustrated rattle. I didn't even have to check. I knew exactly who it was. I muted my laptop, walked to the door, and waited. The knocking started. "Leo, Leo, what's wrong with the lock? Open up." Her voice was sharp, impatient, like I'd inconvenienced her. I opened the door calmly, no chain, no hesitation. There she was, Tessa, standing in the hallway with a suitcase in one hand, confusion on her face, entitlement in her posture. "What happened to the lock? My key doesn't work," she demanded. I looked her in the eye. "I know," I said evenly. "I changed them." Her face twisted, half laugh, half panic. "You what? Why?" I shrugged. "You told me to compete. I declined the offer. The competition's over. You're disqualified." She blinked, her brain buffering. "Leo, stop joking. I need to pee." She tried to push past me, but I didn't move. "Not joking," I said. "This is my condo. You're not on the mortgage or the bills. You were a guest, and the guest has been checked out." Her mouth opened, then shut. She looked around like someone had changed the laws of gravity. "You're evicting me? Over a conversation? I was just being honest." "And I'm being honest now," I said. "We're done. Your stuff's safe." That last part caught her attention. "My stuff? Where's my stuff? My clothes? My—" Her eyes darted to the blank wall behind me. "My sign! Where's my Good Life sign?" Her voice cracked with outrage. I nodded toward the door. "It's in storage, Unit 112 at New Self-Storage out by the bypass." "You put my things in storage?" she screeched. "How am I supposed to get them?" "With a key," I said, "which I mailed to Declan. He paid for half the unit." Silence. For the first time since I'd met her, Tessa looked completely speechless. "You what? You talked to him? Of course, I said. You wanted to test your options. I just made sure your assets were fairly distributed. Her jaw dropped. You are psychotic, she shouted. No, I said, still calm. Psychotic is asking your partner to compete for you like it's a game show. This is logistics. You'll regret this, Leo. I'll tell everyone what you did. I smiled faintly. You're welcome to. Make sure to tell them Lou asked me to prove I was better than the guy you cheated with. Her face twisted with rage. You're a monster. Maybe, I said softly, but monsters sleep better than doormats. Then I closed the door. She screamed on the other side of it for a solid minute, pounding, swearing, the whole show. Then silence. I thought that was the end, but Tessa was never one to lose quietly. 2 days later, there was another knock, this time heavier, slower, more deliberate. When I opened the peephole, I saw her again, but she wasn't alone. Next to her stood a man in an expensive polo shirt, the kind of guy who thought volume equaled authority. Leo, he said as soon as I opened the door, I'm Roger, Tessa's father. His tone was calm, but his eyes carried the weight of someone used to getting his way. Your daughter tells me you illegally evicted her and are holding her property hostage, I said evenly. I'm here to get her things, he continued, and to tell you that you've made a very big mistake. He took a step forward, puffing up like an angry rooster. I didn't flinch. Hello, Roger, I said. Your daughter isn't a tenant. She's not on the mortgage or the bills. She was a guest, and the guest has been checked out. Tell him, Daddy, Tessa snapped. He's stealing my sign. It's worth $1,500. Roger gave a little laugh, one of those condescending older man chuckles. Look, kid, I'm a partner in a construction firm. I know building codes. I know inspectors. I'd hate to notice a few problems with this building. Maybe report a few things to the city. That balcony looks a little unstable, doesn't it? His smile was pure arrogance. It was extortion, wrapped in fatherly concern. So, he continued, just let her in. Let her get her things. Then we'll be gone. Easy. I smiled too. No, I said simply. Roger blinked. No? No, I repeated. Her stuff's in storage, paid for 30 days. She can collect it any time. As for the building, feel free to report it. My landlord's a friend, and the place passed inspection 6 months ago when I refinanced. His face went red. You have no idea who you're messing with, he hissed. Oh, I think I do, I said. You're the kind of man who raised a daughter who thinks love is a competition. I'm not interested in playing. He stared at me, shaking for frustration. Tessa muttered, Daddy, don't let him talk to you like that. You'll regret this, son, he growled. You have no idea. I have a pretty good idea, I said. Now please, leave my property. They stormed off, Tessa shouting, Roger fuming. 20 minutes later, my phone buzzed. Declan again. Dude, her dad just called me, threatened to ruin my credit. What is wrong with these people? I laughed out loud, texted back, good luck, man, you're better off. And just like that, Declan was out too. Option A and option B, both gone. The door was locked, the unit paid, and the pink glow of the good life was gone from my living room. For the first time in months, my condo was quiet. I poured a drink, sat down, and smiled. The competition was officially over.
I thought that was the end of it. I'd changed the locks, boxed up her life, and drawn a clean line between us. But with people like Tessa and her father, logic isn't the end, it's just the start of round 2. A few days passed peacefully. I went to work, enjoyed the silence, cooked dinner without someone telling me it needed more seasoning. Then one morning I got a call from my landlord, Jim. A decent guy. Not exactly a friend, but we'd always gotten along. Leo, he said, sounding irritated, I've got a stack of city complaints here. Anonymous, unsafe balcony, faulty wiring, plumbing leaks, inspectors coming Thursday. What the hell's going on? My stomach didn't even drop. I just sighed. I knew exactly what this was. It's Tessa's dad, I said. He threatened to do it when I wouldn't let her back in. I explained everything. The breakup,
The compete for me speech, the storage unit, the threats. There was a long pause on the other end. "He actually said that?" Jim asked. "Word for word." He groaned. "All right, I'll be there for the inspection. This is harassment, Leo. We'll deal with it." Thursday came, and with it, a city inspector. A gruff man who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. Clipboard in hand, he stepped inside and gave me a once-over. "Anonymous complaint," he said flatly. "Balcony, wiring, plumbing." I nodded. "Understood. Everything's up to code. You can check whatever you need." He grunted, stepped out onto the balcony, stomped on it a few times, looked unimpressed. "Concrete," he muttered. "Solid." He checked the breaker box. "Brand new." Peeked under the sink. "No leaks." Then he sighed, scribbled on his form. "What a waste of my damn time. Who filed this?" I smiled faintly. "A contractor named Roger, trying to harass me after his daughter's breakup." The inspector snorted. "Figures. Happens more than you'd think." He signed off the sheet, handed me a copy, and left. I watched him go, and for the first time in a week, I laughed. Roger's big power move had not only failed, it had officially put him on the city's radar as a serial complainer. For a few quiet days, things were peaceful again. Then on a Tuesday afternoon came another knock. 2 this time, firm and synchronized. I looked through the peephole and froze. 2 police officers stood outside, and behind them, like an unwanted encore, was Tessa, arms crossed, eyes blazing, her expression practically screaming, "Checkmate." I opened the door carefully. "Mr. Leo?" one officer asked. "Yes, officers. How can I help you?" The taller one cleared his throat. "We're here on a civil standby. Miss..." He glanced at his notes. "Miss Tessa says you're refusing to let her retrieve her personal property." I exhaled slowly. That. Sure, I can clear this up." I stepped aside just enough for them to see the empty apartment behind me. "Her property isn't here. It's in the storage unit. New self-storage on the bypass, Unit 112. I paid for the first month myself to keep her things safe." One of the officers raised an eyebrow. "You moved her stuff to storage?" "Yes, sir. Voluntarily. She told me she was seeing someone else and wanted to explore her options. So I gave her the space to do that. Literally." The other officer's lips twitched, trying not to smile. Tessa, behind them, exploded. "He's lying! He's keeping my things hostage! My clothes, my sign! It's worth $1,500! The officer held up a hand. "Ma'am, do you have the key to this storage unit?" She faltered. "No, he gave it to Declan. He's playing games." The taller officer looked at me again. "You gave the key to the other guy?" I nodded calmly. "Yes. At the time, she was deciding between us. I figured he might want to share the responsibility for her belongings." There was a long pause, and then the younger cop actually laughed. "So, to confirm, the property is safe, accessible, and you're not preventing her from retrieving it." "Correct," I said. "She just needs to use the key that Declan mailed her." Tess's face went pale. He didn't. He's supposed to—" "Ma'am," the officer interrupted gently. "This is a civil matter, not a criminal one. If your belongings are safe and he's not refusing access, there's nothing we can do." She sputtered, tried to argue, but the officers had already started walking away. One of them glanced back at me as he passed, shaking his head with a grin that said, "You've got to be kidding me." Tessa stood frozen on the curb, humiliated, watching the last bit of her leverage crumble. I shut the door quietly. That night, I poured a drink and looked around my condo. It was silent, peaceful, clean. No pink glow from that ugly neon sign, no yelling, no phone buzzing, no drama. Just stillness. I didn't feel victorious. I just felt done. She had her freedom. I had my peace. But the universe wasn't finished handing out irony just yet.
3 quiet weeks passed before the last act of this circus finally played out.
I thought the storm had passed, but apparently Tessa and her father weren't finished losing. One afternoon, I got a text from an unknown number. Declan again, the other option. "Hey, last time I swear," it read. Mailed the key to her, certified. She refused to sign for it. It got sent back. Then her dad called me, threatened to report me to the IRS for my freelance work. So I did what any sane person would do. I went to the unit, used my key, took one thing, the hideous pink neon Good Life sign. Then I left the key inside, told the storage company I was done, and walked away. It's in my living room now. Tell her she can buy it back for $1,500. Don't reply. I read it twice, then laughed harder than I had in months. That ridiculous pink sign, the one she'd bragged about like it was a trophy of sophistication, was now sitting in Declan's apartment as a hostage. Poetic. She'd gone from having two options to neither wanting her back, both done with her manipulative games. And now even her prized possession had defected to the other side. When the laughter finally subsided, I called the storage company. "Yeah," I said, "Unit 112, I need to clear it." The manager told me that since both parties had abandoned the contents and the rent period was over, the items were now legally theirs to auction. I paid the $50 improper move-out fee, signed the release, and walked out. Just like that, Tessa's good life was gone. Her clothes, her shoes, her decorations, all boxed and tagged for a stranger's bid. It was over. My total cost for freedom came to $480, $250 for the locksmith, $180 for the unit, and $50 for the abandonment fee. A bargain, really, for peace of mind. A week later, I stood in my living room, the walls finally bare. The place looked different, quieter, cleaner. No tacky pink light flooding the walls, no perfume clinging to the furniture, no phone buzzing with drama that wasn't mine. Just silence. I sat on my couch, exhaled, and realized that for the first time in years, the air didn't feel heavy. I didn't hate her. I didn't miss her. I just felt done. Tessa had wanted to test the market, to see what else was out there, and the market had tested her right back and found her wanting. Now, I don't check her social media, don't wonder what she's doing, don't even think about Declan's neon hostage except when I want a good laugh. People keep asking if I've started dating again, but I'm not rushing into anything. I've managed chaos for years as part of my job, but this was the first time I managed my own life like a project, start to finish, problem to solution. And this one ended beautifully. Tessa's prime years are still ahead of her, but so are mine, and mine are starting without noise, without manipulation, and without a pink sign glowing in the corner pretending everything was fine. She wanted freedom, she got it. And me? I got peace. The competition is over. The project is complete.